Welcome to the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, where the husbands get activated also. This week, Todd has clocked in, and I'm here for it. Let's get into it. Thank you. Welcome to my channel. My name is Miss Janelle Baby, and we're here today to recap Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 5. This is Episode 8. I have yet to do a YouTube video on Salt Lake City, but I have been reviewing the season over on my podcast station on Station Head. But I decided, why not do a video? Because I just felt like it. Salt Lake City deserves it. So we open up this episode with Meredith and Lisa meeting up at the Snowpin Lodge to get massages. So they get their massages, they change into their massage, stuff, and they go get their massages. And after they get their massages, the masseuse lets them know that there's some tea waiting for them on the balcony. Lisa lets Meredith know while they were getting their massages that Heather would be meeting up with them afterwards. So they're sitting down enjoying their tea, and Heather pulls up. So Heather pulls up, and when she does, Meredith proceeds to let her know about her bar mitzvah. So Heather's all like, really? You're getting her bar mitzvah? Acting all fake surprised, like, girl, wow. Like, her response to me was just so produced, self-produced, you know what I'm saying? Bad acting. Act more surprised, so anyway. So then they begin to talk about Heather's meetup with Bronwyn, which was the last scene of the previous episode, where Bronwyn invited Heather over to, try to get some things off settled between them, because Bronwyn's having all the girls come to Palm Springs on a trip, a couple's trip. And Heather basically doesn't have a man or a husband, so what was the sense in inviting her? And plus they was beefing, but she was inviting her, I guess, to see if they can get along. Anyway, so Heather's telling them her version of the story, and she's letting them know how she feels that Bronwyn invited her over her house, I guess to make her do a trial or audition to see if she can go on a trip and see if she passes the test. So she felt like she was good on that. She's not going to sit there and go through all this and play nice and act fake just to go on a little trip. And plus, she probably didn't want to go because it's a couple's trip, and she would have been like the 11th wheel because there's 5 couples that end up going on a trip. So Heather is, letting them know she also felt like Bronwyn wasn't taking accountability. Bronwyn wanted her to apologize, and she felt like she didn't owe Bronwyn an apology. So she said she left Bronwyn's house upset, and she wasn't feeling Bronwyn at this point. So then she asked Lisa, how do you feel? Because remember, Bronwyn also said she wanted to speak to Lisa before the trip as well, because her and Lisa was, on shaky grounds. But really, it wasn't even so much shaky grounds. We'll get to that. So now Lisa starts to say how Bronwyn called her before the trip, and Bronwyn was asking her, was everything good with her and Whitney? Because, she's having this trip and she wants everybody to get along. Lisa says as she was on the phone, she was processing the fact that she felt like Bronwyn was basically calling her as if her and John were the agitators and the troublemakers, on some, we having this trip, y'all good, I'm trying to make sure y'all not going to be the ones to cause problems. And Lisa's how she felt are you taking Whitney's side? Why you coming at me are we good? So, good thing they show a flashback of that phone call when Bronwyn did call Lisa, because that's not how it went down at all. Bronwyn said, hey girl, I'm just letting you know I'm having a trip, a couple's trip, and I did invite Whitney and Justin. So I just want to make sure, are you good? Are you good with that? Because basically I feel like it was a courtesy. She was letting her know that the people you are currently not dealing with are going to be there. So she was giving you a heads up. So I don't know why Lisa took that some way. Or maybe she felt like Bronwyn was testing her to see if she even wanted to invite her. So that's what she was saying. So now Heather asks Meredith how she feels about it. And Meredith is like, well, she still feels away because she said that Sean went on a podcast and had said something to the effect of she uses her son Brooks as a prop or storyline, something to that effect. So they showed a flashback at Angie's Mob Wives anniversary party where she approached Sean and was like she didn't like how he made that comment about her son, and he pretty much told her that he still feels that way. He stands 10 toes down on that, and he said what he said, pretty much. He didn't say it in those words. Those are the words I'm using, but that's pretty much what his response gave. The whole, to sum it up. So she feels away now because, why you bringing her son up? And I get where she's coming from, but some viewers would probably agree that you do use your son as a storyline. I wouldn't say I'm one of those viewers, but I can see why you would feel, why is he even bringing your son up in the situation? Neither here nor there. So next scene is basically, it's like a montage of scenes now, because now they're going to show all the girls getting ready for the trip. So first we're at Bronwyn's house, and she's on the phone with Todd. First of all, it was so cute. Her and her dog had on matching pajamas. It was so cute. I was like, oh, I want to do that with my dogs, but she got more dogs than me. She got 6. I got 4, so we're going to do this, Roman. You going to have me stepping my doggy game up now. So, yeah. She's on the phone with Todd, telling him, they're talking about the upcoming trip, and she's, saying how she don't want no drama, and, she hope everybody can just get along. And Todd is telling her, and I think she's telling him about the meetup with Heather and how it went south, so Heather's not going to be attending. And he's like, well, that's the right decision because he don't want no drama. He's not trying to be breaking up fights for a weekend, and he's basically not here for any of it, any of the foolishness. So if you come in with all that, you're not invited. So I'll be adding my own little stink on it, but he basically said that. So as I'm telling you my version, I'm throwing some paprika, some smoked paprika in there with some garlic powder and some onion powder, you know what I'm saying? So that's just me. So yeah, now we're going to skip to, Angie's house. So Angie is with Sean, and they are packing, getting ready for this trip. And she's letting Sean know how, her and Lisa haven't really spoken. They've been distant. It's been kind of awkward between them. So she's pretty much good on Lisa right now. Next, we go over to Whitney, the Rose's home. I would have said Angie's last name is Catnavia or something like that. I don't really know how to say her name, so I don't try to. She has like a Greek last name. But the Rose home, they're at the Rose home now, and Whitney and Justin are packing. One thing I could say is I like about Salt Lake City is, right, as they're going from one girl's house, they show Bronwyn in her house, then they show Angie and Sean in their house packing, and now we're at Whitney and Justin's house. But in between each scene, like after they show the girl in their house and they go to the next girl's house, you know how they show the scenery of Salt Lake City and they go all the way across town and you see this person's house from outside. But they play that little Salt Lake City theme music from the theme song through each scene. So it's just real cute. I can't front. As I'm watching Salt Lake City, one reason why I love the Housewives shows is I like the scenery. I like for when they show in between the scenes, when they show like the skyline or like the main attractions and stuff like that. So for instance, like New York, I like when they show like the New York streets. Over in Miami, I like it when they show like the beach and show Miami. I love Dubai when they show like the desert and the sand and the luxurious part of it. But Salt Lake City, I like it because they show like the mountains and the snow. And they really produce it like it's a soap opera. And that's probably why Salt Lake City is one of the more successful franchises, because the editing and production on the show is really top notch. So anyway, as I'm watching it and they're going, I'm noticing they're playing the music, and I notice things like that. It's just a cute little touch that shows that they really had produced this show well. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, we at Whitney's house with her and Justin, and they're packing, and she's talking about how, she feels anxious about Lisa because, Lisa kind of scares her a little bit. So, but she's finally getting her backbone and saying it up to Lisa. So she's like, what's the shit gonna be like? And then Justin lets her know that when he met up with John, Lisa's husband, John said that Lisa feels like Justin owes her an apology and John feels like he owes her one too. And Whitney like, what? If anything, she owes you an apology. Like, So now we flash over to Lisa's house, over to the Barlow's home. So Lisa's packing and John is watching her pack. So she's bringing all these shades. He's like, how many shades you bringing? I think she was bringing like 4 pairs. So he pulls out a pair of swimming trunks and said, I can't bring these. And she's like, John Barlow, you going to make me threaten to divorce you for like the millionth time, just playing with him. So she's anxious about having to be in the same house as Angie and Whitney, more so Whitney. And she's just like, she's kind of like, I don't know how this trip is going to play out. She feels like, she feels Justin owes her an apology. And she's standing on that. And then she also starts to talk about, how she feels Angie came for her parenting. So she talks about her son Henry. They show a scene from last week's episode when she met up with her sister for lunch and they were discussing Henry, and she said how she worries about him because it was his birthday or something and he had like he planned a last minute birthday party and sent out the text to all his friends or whatever and classmates. And they all decided to go to another kid's party instead. So, she felt sad about that. And she's really protective of her children. And she feels really attacked when someone questions her parenting and makes a jab about her mothering skills. So she said, she wants, so especially when it's one of her friends, it hurts even more and it makes her question herself. Now, Lisa, I'm going to say this, okay? All right, I don't think Angie came for your mothering skills. She did make a little snarky remark, but I don't think she was saying you were a bad parent. You made a comment. You guys were having an argument that was unrelated to children. Y'all was talking about something else. You guys were having an argument about your friendship. And you feeling like Angie was switching up on you, and Angie saying how she feels like you always want someone to be a yes man and she's not trying to be that. So as y'all were talking, you made a comment about, oh, don't you gotta go call Electra, who was her daughter? And everybody at the table was like confused, like, why are you bringing up Electra? So you're like, isn't that what you do whenever you want to get off the phone? You lie and say, oh, I gotta go do something for Electra. It's always Electra. So although you weren't making a quip at Angie's parenting, you were saying how Angie always lies and uses her daughter as an excuse when she don't want to talk to you or when she want to get off the phone with you. Either way, so Angie got mad that in the middle of an argument, she would even bring up her daughter. So as she was venting to Heather, who started this whole thing, she said to Heather, like, why would you bring up my daughter? Like, why are you saying that I use my daughter as an excuse to get off the phone with you? Like, girl, I'm on the phone with you all day. And at some point, I got to go feed my daughter or I got to go help my daughter with her homework or something. Like, I got to get off the phone. So how dare you even question that? Like, and she said she made a comment about my daughter, like, I can't just let my daughter stay on the computer or the video games all day. I have to actually pay attention to her and watch her. And it was a little snarky comment, basically saying how Lisa lets her son play video games and stay on the computer all day. Mind you, Henry is older than Electra. So when they're that age, when my son was 13, 14, he was into his video games. So honestly, he could literally be on his video games all day, and I could go check on him, and he wouldn't be paying me no line. Like, so that at that age, but when they're younger, you do have to be more hands on. Like, they're doing stuff. You have to watch them. So I understand how Angie felt away, and she was venting to Heather, and Heather went back and told Lisa what she said. But when Heather said it, she stirred the pot. But when she stirred it, like the girl said about her on Watch What Happens Live, she had even add no seasoning. She basically went back to Lisa and made it seem like Angie was coming for her parenting skills, and basically trying to say she's not a good mom. And I'ma just say this. You need to talk to Angie about what she said and not listen to Heather, because we all know Heather is a well-known liar. I'm trying my best to hold it in, because we're gonna get to Heather. We're gonna get to you later, because I'm holding it in. I already went ham on you on my podcast, so I'm trying my best to hold it in. But yeah, Heather, we're gonna get to you. So I'm going to just say this, Lisa. You talked about her daughter. You brought up her daughter, so now she brought up your son. And plain and simple, once you go there and open that box, you can't expect nobody else to go there with you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's that movie with White Chicks? Like, oh, you want to talk about mothers. It's mother time. So, hello, baby. You opened the door, and Miss Angie walked right through it. Angie K. I can't say your last name, girl, so it's Angie K. And so now we are at the private plane hangar. Bronwyn and Todd arrive. And after Bronwyn and Todd, we have the Roses, Whitney and Justin. So they get on the board. They board the plane, the private plane, which is fabulous. And Whitney's trying to figure out where everybody's sitting, because she doesn't want to be anywhere next to Lisa Barlow. After them, we have Angie and Sean who arrive, followed by the Marks, Meredith and Seth. And Lisa and Sean finally arrive last. Vroom, vroom, we're off. They now arrive in Palm Springs at the Thermal Private Airport. So now they have cars waiting for them to take them back to their resort. In car one, you have Bronwyn, Angie, and Whitney with their husbands. And in car two, we have Lisa and Meredith with their husbands. So Seth is asking John about, the whole situation between the Barlows and the Roses. Because remember, Seth is never really around, because he's always out of town. He works in, what state is that? Iowa? He works in a whole nother state, so he's not home 5 days a week. He's only home on his days off. So pretty much he wasn't at the party, at Angie's Mart Wop's party, when Whitney and Lisa got into it over the whole Whitney accusing Lisa of telling the blog that she gets her designs for her jewelry from Alibaba. So he's asking him about what happened and how that went down. And he's also asking him about what happened when John and Justin met up after the fact. So they're telling him their version of the story, and John is basically like he was protecting his wife, and letting, Seth know his version of the events that went there. Basically catching Seth on to what the whole drama is between the two couples at this point. Okay, so now back in car one. In car one, we have Bronwyn, Angie, and Whitney, and they're talking, and Bronwyn's telling them how she feels like Lisa and Meredith are taking Heather's side in this whole ordeal. So they show a flashback of her talking to Lisa and Meredith while they were on the plane about how when she met up with Heather, how she was trying to apologize to Heather, but Heather wasn't trying to, own up to what she did. And she was explaining to them how she was asking Heather, what did I do to you? Like, she genuinely wanted to know what the issue was and what Heather feels that she did that made her upset, so that she can apologize. And Heather told her well, you don't need to apologize. It's not going to be genuine. And Bronwyn is basically like, how can it be a genuine apology if I don't know what I did to you? It's like, yeah, I can say I'm sorry that I made you upset, but if I don't know what I did to make you upset, is it really a genuine apology? So I get where Bronwyn was coming from. I wanted to know what I was apologizing for, unless you just want me to give you a random apology and act like I mean it. So you see, as they're talking, Lisa is like, well, when Heather's your friend, she's your friend. And they're pretty much vouching for Heather, defending Heather. So she says she feels like they're hearing Heather, but they're not trying to hear her side of things and hear where she's coming from. And you see Lisa in her confessional saying how she thinks that she thinks that Bronwyn and Heather are like a 180 from each other. And she's starting to also think that her and Bronwyn are as well. So that's what she was saying in the cars. So now we finally arrive to the Cavallo Ranch. We get to the Cavallo Ranch, and I'm not going to lie, the place is gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's fabulous. Good job, Bronwyn. I didn't notice, though, that the kitchen was blue, just like your kitchen, Bronwyn. Like, was that a requirement? So now, Lisa's happy that the house is really large and there's 2 wings. So she's like, I'm glad I don't have to be nowhere near Whitney. So now we see Seth. He's walking around and he's looking for a bathtub because we all know Meredith loves bathtubs. And Seth is singing, the little bit of time that I spend with her, because I'm always working, I know that I need to keep Meredith happy, and we all know Meredith loves bathtubs, so he's looking for a bathtub. There's no bathtub on the premises. Sorry. So now Bronwyn is worried now about her and Lisa being on shaky ground, and she's just trying to figure out how this trip is going to play out, and she's hoping that, it's no weirdness or negative energy. So now, Whitney and Justin, they're completely happy with the lodging. They're happy. They're satisfied. They're like, yes, we ready to turn up. And you see the Markses and the Barlows go outside by the pool, I guess, to talk. So Lisa and they're talking about, I don't know how Italy came up. They were talking about Italy and going to Italy. And they was talking about Italian food, and Lisa says she doesn't like the food in Italy because it's too fresh. Now, Lisa, I know that your diet consists of Wendy's, fast food, and 7-Eleven big gulps, but girl, come on now. Like, when you have such a poor diet, I guess fresh food tastes weird, I guess. But yeah, girl, not cute. So now, Todd and Bronwyn, their jeweler arrives to show them some jewelry, which is like a big flex. Why is your jeweler coming while you're on vacation? But then again, it is their anniversary, so I guess Todd wanted to do that for her. So she's looking at all these necklaces and earrings worth millions of dollars. And as they're doing that, Angie and Sean come to the pool, and you can hear them. And Angie sees like a volleyball and some balls. So she says how her father used to be a volleyball player. So her father was a soccer player. So she's sure that she inherited his skills with balls. And I don't know if you realize how that came across, Angie, but yeah. The editors did you dirty. So now she grabs the ball and she goes to hit it, and the ball goes into the water. So now she's trying to go get the ball out the water, and she's also not trying to get in the water, so she gets on this little raft thingy, and she grabs the net, the long thing with the net, to try to grab the ball. So she's making all this noise. All you hearing is, and she's doing this, and she gets the ball, and they're playing volleyball, and they're just doing a lot. Mind you, as they're doing that, the jeweler is showing Todd and Bronwyn the jewelry. And she's hearing this, and she's looking like, do I need to close these briefcases and get up out of here with this jewelry? Like, what is going on? So now Lisa and Meredith, they come outside. with John. They're sitting out there with John, Lisa and Meredith, John's husband. So Seth comes out. And he comes out to, I think he brought Meredith a drink or something. So now he's also making an announcement to let Meredith know that something came up at work and he basically has to leave first thing in the morning. So Meredith was like, wait, what? Like, I told you in advance that this was a couple's trip and it was going to be like an overnight thing. Like, I don't know how many days they're staying there for, but she's not here for it. She's not happy. They start going back and forth and she's like, how is this a couple's trip? And half of my couple is not going to be here no more. Like, I told you this in advance. Like, basically, why? So even Lisa's like, Todd, it's Sunday. It can wait. And he's like, yeah, but to get back into Utah, or not even Utah, wherever he works at, whatever state he works in, from Palm Springs, he had to fly through another state airport, and it was just a lot. So he had to leave first thing in the morning, which was going to be on a Sunday, in order to get back there on Monday. So Meredith is like, wow, I'm starting to feel like, this is deja vu. Because remember, they had problems in the past because of Todd's schedule and never being home and always working. And they was falling apart. At one point, I think they was even talking about divorce. They had got a post-nup and all that. So Meredith is over it. She don't even want to talk to him no more. So he goes inside with John. She's venting to Lisa, singing how she's all for a hard-working man. She would never tell nobody never to be a hard worker. But it's starting to take its toll on their relationship. And then you see Seth inside talking to John, and he's singing how, he's starting to feel like the same issues they were having before over these things is just happening again. It's like deja vu. So it's like, bull, you catching it, so do something about it. You're seeing you're making the same mistakes. So anyway, next. So now Whitney, Bronwyn, and Angie are chilling. So as they're chilling, Bronwyn lets them know, like, she's like, hey, girls, earlier I did ask Meredith and Lisa if we was good, and they show a flashback of her approaching both of them like, we good, right? It's no problems, right? And they was like, no, we good, it's no problem. And she like, so I noticed that they went and took the other two rooms on the other side of the house to be by themselves, like so I guess it's given like, we don't want to be bothered with y'all. And, like, I guess it's like she can understand why Lisa might not want to be bothered with Whitney and Angie right now, but now it's her too. So, like, yeah. So she noticed that and she peeped that and she's letting them know that and they're talking about that. And now the husbands are about to play cornhole, Whitney is letting the girls know how Justin let her know that Lisa wants him to give her an apology. And you could see Angie kind of like gagging, like, what? Like, girl. So now Angie says that she want to clear the ice, so she decides to be fair. She's going to pour everybody a shot of some Vita tequila, which is Lisa Barlow's, the Barlow's brand or whatever. So she goes and get the shots and she brings everybody a shot. And she tells Todd and, Bronwyn, happy anniversary. Thank y'all for inviting us on this trip. So now the ladies are sitting down chilling and Sean comes to check in on the ladies and Bronwyn is looking for her phone. So she gets up to leave to go look for her phone. So now when she leaves, Meredith lets the girls know that she's getting hearing aids. And also, they're going to serve as AirPods. So she's like, yes, I'm able to just tune the ladies out or whatever. So now Lisa, she mentions Heather. And she's saying how she wished Heather was there and she missed Heather. And they start talking about the whole drama with her and Bronwyn. And how, they met up and now she's not there. So Lisa, now they show the men are chilling. They finished playing cornhole. They over there in the water chilling. You see Todd is even kicking it with the fellas. They all chilling. So Lisa decides to pull out her cell phone and FaceTime Heather. Now, Lisa, you're dead wrong. This is Bronwyn's trip, and you know for a fact that she did not invite Heather on this trip because they're not getting along right now. Why would you FaceTime her on a trip that Bronwyn is hosting? Like, if I ever throw a trip and invite you, and I'm paying for everything and for your accommodations, bitch, you better not dare. Now, if you paying for your own stuff, do what you like. But if I'm paying, you better not dare. And Lisa, you are such a hypocrite because let somebody had did that to you, it would have been a problem. Even Angie clocked it. Angie was like, Lisa is such a double standard for her because if one of us did that to her, you wouldn't hear the end of it. And I agree. You're right, Angie. Okay. So now, as she's on the phone with Heather, Bronwyn comes back. So now Bronwyn comes back. Mind you, Lisa, while she's FaceTiming Heather, she's all showing Heather all the girls and showing her the plays. And Heather's like, oh my gosh, she looks so beautiful. And all this and that. Like, why is you giving her all the tea about what's going on? She's not invited on this trip for a reason. So she shouldn't even, get to experience this beautiful place. Bye. So Bronwyn is coming back, and mind you, she even putting the phone on Bronwyn so Heather to see Bronwyn. So Bronwyn is over it. So Bronwyn is like, all right, hold up. I'm thinking, first I was thinking maybe I did something. Maybe it was something I said to Lisa, maybe I'm wrong. But she like, nah, this bitch is dead ass wrong. So Lisa finally gets off the phone with Heather like, oh, Heather, we miss you. We wish you were here. And even some of the other girls is looking like, you see Whitney and Angie sitting there, and they even looking like, girl, what are you doing? So now after she gets off the phone, Bronwyn is like, what's good with that? Like, what are you doing? So Bronwyn is basically like, why is you being messy? So Lisa's explaining that's my friend and I feel bad she's not here. And Bronwyn is basically saying but why is you always taking her side? You never, listen, you never wanted to hear my side and my version of things. And Lisa's like, oh, that's my friend. And if she's tell me how she feel, I'm going to listen to her. And Bronwyn is like, but why can't you extend that same courtesy to me? So they're going back and forth. And Bronwyn is basically saying how when she feels like Lisa doesn't never speak up for her, but she always defends Lisa. And they show a flashback of her defending Lisa. And I think it was Whitney saying something about Lisa. And I think this is where they showed the flashback. And then you show Bronwyn saying, well, I don't know. That's not the Lisa I know. Basically, not letting Whitney convince her something about Lisa that she's never witnessed for herself. So she feels like Lisa doesn't do that for her. The friendship is kind of one-sided, uneven. So now Lisa's like, look, I don't want to get in the middle of this with you and Heather. That's my friend. You're my friend. She's my friend. Y'all need to work that out between y'all. So now Bronwyn is like, well, that's funny because when I'm going at it with somebody, it's like I'm on my own, work it out. But when you going through it with somebody, I'm supposed to ride your dick like I get paid to do it. And she storms off. So now Lisa's still like, I don't know why she putting me in this and this and that. So Whitney goes to check on Bronwyn. And Bronwyn is telling Whitney she don't understand why Lisa is being so one-sided in how she feels. She feels like she's hearing where Heather coming from, but not hearing where she's coming from. And why would she basically FaceTime her on her trip? So now Whitney's saying she agrees. Bronwyn is saying she's saying how she agrees with Bronwyn that why is Lisa being Whitney's spokesperson? You are and mind you, Whitney, I understand that you saying that, but you were Whitney, you were Heather a couple of seasons ago. You were Heather back in season 2 when you wanted to be Lisa's friend. So you was telling her all the stuff the girls were saying about her to get in her good graces and be her number one good Judy. So now basically you and Lisa fell out and Heather saw it open and then she's trying to be that new Judy to Lisa. Because we all know Lisa is the cool girl on the show. Now that Jen is gone, Lisa's the most popular one. So everybody wants to be Lisa's friend. Lisa and Mary. So Now, mind you, Mary's not on a trip because Mary had plans with her son, and Bronwyn didn't invite Brittany because Brittany's a mess. So now Lisa's still outside explaining her side of things to meet Angie and Meredith. So now Todd goes in to check on Bronwyn, and Whitney goes, all right, I'm going to let y'all two, speak. I'm sorry, Todd, about all of this. So she leaves out, and Todd is like to Bronwyn, like, what's good? Like, what's up? He said, I told you I'm not here for none of this. I'm not going to be putting up with none of this. And he said, I said that if it got to this, I'm going to be putting people out. And he said, I'm getting to that point. So Bronwyn was like, you know what, babe? I got you. Let me tell them, though, because I'm going to say it much nicer. So but mind you, a funny little side note, when he was talking about kicking them out, he was like, just go tell them to go, get them somebody and send them on their way. I was like, Todd, not you being shady, like Miss Quad did with Mariah and when she told the bouncer not to let them into her event and left them $50 for gas money. Like, girl, at least you won't be like, you wasted your gas. But I get where Todd was coming from. Like, at least he offered to get her money. Because my thing is, if you invite me on a trip in another state or whatever, and then you decide you want to send me home, even if you're paying for the plane, like, at least put some money in my pocket. Like, because guess what? On the way home, if I decide I want to get something to eat, that shouldn't be on me. My Uber home from the airport shouldn't be on me. If I decide I wanted to stop for a drink in the airport, that shouldn't be on me. If I decided I'm just so frazzled from being sent home and I need to go do some retail therapy, you should be paying for that. Why should I be doing that? Because I wasn't planning on getting sent home. I should be on this trip enjoying myself. Okay, so that was bravo for you, Todd. I'm starting to like you more and more. Even though you kind of giving me Tom Girardi vibes, but we're going to leave that alone. So now, before Bronwyn gets a chance to go tell them, Todd goes outside to let John know. He's like, John, what's good? Like, I don't like what's going on. I don't got time for this drama. Basically, either you tell your wife, get your wife in check, tell your wife to check herself, or y'all can just leave. Straight like that. No chaser. I was like, oh, when he said that, I was like, even John was like, yeah, John was looking like, oh, okay. So John's like, all right, I'm going to go and, talk to Lisa. So he's going to look for Lisa to go deliver the message to her. And Todd goes back to Bronwyn to let her know, he just let John know that if Lisa don't get it together, they got to go. And he said he wasn't here for it. And he's not. Okay? Todd has clocked in, honey. All right? So now John goes to tell Lisa. So he's asking her, like, what happened with you and Bronwyn? So she's telling him. And he's like, oh, well, because Todd just came and told me, like, if you don't stop and get it together, like, then we got to go. And you see Lisa, she's brushing her hair and she's looking like, so it was like to be continued. So I was like, ooh, Todd, honey, yes, come on, baby, clock in. Yes, let them know. First of all, Todd is much older than Autumn. I think he's like in his 60s. He's a whole senior citizen. Todd is not here for that. He's not going to put up with that. Like he said, get it together or go home. And he meant that. He approached him. As soon as he came up with that, he went and put it in motion. So I'm here for it. This was a good episode. I do love Salt Lake City. It's one of my favorite franchises. It's what's been basically keeping me going through the fall, and I can't wait to see how the rest of the season plays out. We're like at the halfway mark because this was episode 8, and they usually do around 14 to 16 episodes, so we'll see. But in the meantime, thank you guys for joining. I know the episode came on last Wednesday, so for the next recap, I plan on doing it the following day, which is Thursday, 2 days from now. I still haven't done my Potomac recap because I didn't watch the episode yet, but I do plan on watching it. I'm about to go do laundry now. When I come back from doing laundry, or probably while I'm at the laundry, I'm going to watch Potomac on my phone. And then later on tonight, I'll rewatch it, or early tomorrow, I'll rewatch it and take my notes. And I promise you guys, I will have my Potomac review up tomorrow and going forward. It will be every Monday, the day after. I promise you guys, I'm going to get it together. And then I'll start telling more people about the channel. Because right now, it's so ratchet and unprofessional. So I haven't been really sharing. But to the few of you, the handful of you that have been watching, thank you. And I hope you continue to watch as I grow my audience and get my, background and everything up. Step it up. Later, guys. Bye.